Hello, fellow YouTubers. This is Blu-ray Maniac here, coming at you on the Horoscope 101 channel. Um, my day, obviously, is Fridays, and this week was the Universal Monsters Week, where each of us would talk about a specific uh, Universal Monsters movie. The movie that I selected was The Mummy from 1932, starring Boris Karloff. And unfortunately, I do not own that movie yet. However, I have seen it probably a good 4 or 5 times in my life, actually. So I have a pretty good memory of the movie. And I remember it being really good, but basically, I wrote down a couple of notes here from memory. It's first of all, when I get into this review of sorts, it is very similar to the Mummy movie from 1999, uh, but that's because that movie was a remake, or the word they use nowadays, reimagining of the 1932 Mummy movie. So there will be a lot of similarities, but there will also be differences. I'm not going to focus that much on the remake because this is about the 1932 version. So, okay, with that being said, there's, of course, Imhotep, an Egyptian priest. Um, he was mummified alive for trying to bring his, I guess you could call her his mistress. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but Yaman um, was her name. And anyway, he tried to bring her back to life once before, and he was mummified alive. Um, and basically, um, Imhotep in the movie is played by Boris Karloff. And then there's an expedition, and it's led by what's the guy's name? Joseph Wimple, and he's played by Arthur Byron. And they go on this expedition. They find a tomb, and while they're digging, they're one of the assistants. Um, his name is Ralph Norton, and he's played by Bramwell. I think that's how you say that. Bramwell Fletcher. Anyway, he's warned uh, to not read this. There's this spell. It's an ancient life-giving spell that resurrects the dead, and he was warned, not to read that spell, but he did it anyway. And of course, anyone familiar with the remake, same thing here. Uh, Boris Karloff, the mummy, comes back to life, and he escapes with a scroll called the Scroll of, I don't know if it's Thoth or Toth, but he escapes with the scroll, and he goes on a quest throughout Cairo to basically to see about resurrecting Anaxunamun. Well, okay, so that's basically how it starts, and then like 10 years later or so, um, there comes this other character named Adath Bey, and he is basically a resurrected Imhotep, and he hires the original expeditionary leader's son, because this is 10 years later, to go on another expedition to find the body of Inoxayaman. And I don't want to sit here and give you a full, you know, total description of the entire story, because I don't want to give too much away, but it's a really good movie. And I've always had a thing for mummies. Even when I was in school, I used to go rent books from the library that dealt with mummification and like ancient Egyptian mummies and how they preserved them and the canopic jars and all that. So mummies are my thing. And for being as old as this movie is, I consider this movie to be a masterpiece. It was really creepy, and as they call him, Karloff the Uncanny, he's just very well known, very good, excellent actor for his time, and basically, you know, he ends up finding Imhotep ends up finding a woman that looks similar to Inoxayaman, and beyond that, I'm not going to say much else. I will say that it does not end exactly the same way it does in the remake. So if you've seen the remake, forget what you've seen in the remake, and remember that this movie came first, and if not for this movie, the mummy movies of now with Brendan Fraser and all those movies wouldn't have come if it hadn't been for this one. And like I said, I consider this movie a masterpiece, and it's just an excellent film. And one other note I'd like to add before I finish with this video is the fact that, I thought of something just the other day when I was thinking about what I was going to say in this video, and that's, if you look at all the Universal monster movies, is it just me, or do they all sort of deal with a love story of some kind, or a tragic love story, or they have like love is a common factor in these movies? Because, okay, like in this movie, The Mummy, he's trying to resurrect his mistress, whom he loves. Even though he does some bad things, and he'll kill people and stuff to see that happens. Still, that's a love story. And then you look at like The Invisible Man. He took his invisibility potion in hopes of making it big, getting rich, and getting a specific woman to fall for him in that movie. And then Dracula, same thing. He's trying, the whole story and myth of vampires and that whole thing. And then you look at Frankenstein, and then the movie Bride of Frankenstein. And wasn't Frankenstein eventually, he was looking for a bride? And I look at all these movies, and I'm not too sure, but I think love is a common factor throughout all those movies. If you keep that in mind the next time you watch these movies, maybe you'll catch on to that as well. Anyway, that is my review or discussion for The Mummy from 1932. It really is an excellent film, and even if you've seen the remake and you love the remake and you don't see how it could be any better than the remake, even though it's an old film and it's from 1932 and it's in black and white, still give it a watch. It's really a good film. Like I said, I've seen it about 4 or 5 times, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I would highly recommend it to anybody if you're a fan of any of the other Universal monster films, or just good old-fashioned black and white movies in general. these movies come from a time period when it wasn't all about computer generated special effects and things like that, when they had to rely more on like story elements and making it dramatic, and they had to really focus on characters, and movies were more story driven back in those days than they are now. But it's a great film. uh, I highly recommend it to anybody who's interested in seeing a really cool story. And like I said, I don't own the film. I will be picking up the Universal Monsters Blu-ray set sometime next month, as my birthday is next month. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for stopping by the Horoscope channel and watching all of our videos. And we have fun making these, and we hope that you come back and watch many more of our videos. So until next time, you guys take care of yourselves, and I will see y'all next Friday. Thanks.